The Autoscholar Advisor system auto-generates advice to an institution's staff and students for increasing graduation rates. The Autoscholar securely connects to an institution's database through an application programming interface or API. The data is analyzed by methods from statistics, artificial intelligence, and data analytics, and converted to natural language advice. The advice is rendered in a web browser, using modern interface standards. The advising scripts help academic staff and students make better decisions toward graduation. For example, for executives or management, the system analyzes whole faculties or whole academic programs, finds bottlenecks, and targets resources to the places where they are needed most. Other powerful tools help automate cohort analysis, progression mapping, and curriculum analysis and design. Onerous and tedious tasks, such as degree accreditation preparation, is completely automated. For lecturers, course conveners and counselors, it provides insights to the performance of individual courses or students. It auto-generates advice that a lecturer or counselor can discuss with individual students, providing advice in time to improve performance, in the form of early warning systems. For students, it provides advice about their level of effort and how it compares with their classmates. By monitoring and gamifying student effort, the system drives students toward more diligent study habits. Students are also encouraged to share their learning with others, and to be part of the process of educating others, and building a culture of lifelong learning. During times of reduced physical contact between lecturers and students, the Autoscholar Advisor can support effective remote teaching and learning. Special modules ease the collecting and disseminating of coursework and assessments. Students and lecturers can access all functions through laptops or even cell phones. Implementing the Autoscholar at your institution is a simple matter of creating an API using sample code provided by us. Training videos and documentation is available for effective use of the Autoscholar Advisor system.
An application programming interface, or API, lets computing systems talk to each other. An institution API talks to an institution's database. By declaring the requests that the Autoscholar will make as variable names and types, and by defining the data type it expects to come back, the Autoscholar can perform the analysis requested by the institution. By creating its API, the institution keeps full control over the security and level of access granted to any user. The data exchange is only between a user authenticated by the institution and the institution itself. Information never leaves this circuit. Technical reviewers are often surprised that the Autoscholar never requires institutional data to be copied to another database or moved to a different server. This is possible because the Autoscholar injects analysis code into the user device where the analysis will happen. The institution writes its API, and the Autoscholar will just work. This extremely lightweight Jamstack architecture makes private and secure access possible, with no interruption of existing services, or need for additional infrastructure. So much for the institution's API. The Autoscholar also provides its own API, so that its users can use its codebase to create their own functionality. The Autoscholar was originally written by academics teaching at institutions, and it wishes to continue this fine tradition. There will always be intelligent staff at academic institutions who want to pop the hood and get under the surface to analyze data in their own ways and create new ways of doing things. The Autoscholar encourages this and provides the tools needed to do this securely and respecting the privacy protocols. Research has been and continues to be published in this way. Furthermore, if the new functionality is generally useful, it can be made available to other institutions through the third-party components store. This can be a source of third-stream income to an institution or staff member. You can see some fine examples of components in the following sections.
Autoscholar Advisor development started about 15 years ago, and has never really stopped. As functionality accumulated, the system became increasingly intimidating. To ease the learning curve and increase usability, the functionality is now partitioned into 9 core modules or components, each one reporting a clearer use case to a specific type of user. An integration framework helps users keep track of and organize these components. The integration framework can also be used to add any existing services or software. The level of integration depends on the integration options available. For closed-box systems without APIs, integration might simply be a link which, for example, opens the service in a new browser tab. For systems developed by the institution, integration can go all the way to offering the service to other Autoscholar subscribers. Any modern institution relies on multiple software services to maintain its operations. The integration framework helps organize these services and can be customized all the way to the level of an individual.
The curriculum analyst provides insight at the academic program level. For the progression mapping function, the system uses graph theory to identify all the routes taken by students to graduation. The progression map reveals the various combinations of courses that students are passing, which eventually leads to a program exit. It helps academic program designers understand the differences between the program they designed and the way students are actually operating in that design. We can find which routes have a shorter time to graduation and which routes have choke points or killer courses that slow progression. To optimize the program delivery, simple practical steps like re-timetabling can be understood. The time to grad function provides cohort analysis. We can select individual programs, or whole faculties, or whole institutions to analyze the proportions of students graduating in minimum time and minimum time plus X. It's an automation of cohort analysis. The student biographical function helps understand the types of students registered for programs in terms of admissions and successful graduation. We can understand influence of high school education and financial stress on the level of preparedness and likelihood of graduation.
CourseView Connect is for lecturers to manage their classes of students and to understand and benchmark their performance. The stats area provides insight into the performance change over the years and can be broken down into a specific campus or specific exams. The cross-correlation function figures out what other courses students are taking and works out the Pearson R correlation. This helps the lecturer understand whether his or her course is performing in line with other similar courses. The assessments view shows the performance by students across all assessments taken in the course, both as overall statistics and on the level of individual students. The assessments view also helps lecturers and administrators set the dates and times for all class activities and assessments to ensure that feedback is coming back on time to the students, and in line with the institution's assessment feedback deadlines. The student view reveals the performance by students across the assessments and other courses they may be taking. It highlights which students are beginning to underperform as an early warning system. It auto-generates a message that a lecturer can customize and send to a student, highlighting identified areas of concern. The attendance view helps the lecturer set up a pin for each class event, like tests, tutorials and lectures. At the event, the lecturer reveals the pin, and students have about a minute to enter the pin on their cell phones through Student View. Lecturers can then monitor overall attendance in the course activities over time, or view attendance by individual students. The CourseView Connect is designed to promote professional conduct by staff and students, and encourage positive study habits toward better performance.
The coursework curator helps organize the teaching content and assessments to the point where the course could be run in person or remotely. The first step is to deconstruct a course into its fundamental topics of study. We then set the parent-child relationships among topics to form the conceptual scaffold. The system auto-generates a graph which can be connected to the scaffolds of other courses in the curriculum. This has multiple applications. For curriculum designers, it helps optimize the placement of concepts, for example by bringing closer together a fundamental topic and its applied equivalent. It helps avoid logic errors, like teaching fundamental concepts after the more applied versions. It helps lecturers show students which topic needs revision before a current topic can be understood, and emphasizes the relevance of a present topic to later concepts and applications. It helps students break down the mental silos that tend to form around courses or even topics in courses. Both lecturers and students can then attach study materials to each topic in the scaffold. The component helps integrate materials in a way that respects the IP best practices concerned with drawing materials from across multiple authors. The assessments component helps lecturers or even students create assessment questions. The author can convert any parameters of the question into a discrete set of choices or a random variable. The system can then auto-generate virtually unlimited instances of a question, for students to practice on as much as they like. The author can also declare the method for determining the correct answer, together with answers that might not be correct. When a student takes the assessment, the system then auto-grades the submission, and explains for each instance of a question the reasons for an answer being correct or incorrect. The feedback is provided immediately after the submission is made, thus completely eliminating feedback delays. The coursework curator is a powerful way to develop teaching and learning, and enable success through deep understanding.
The Student Central component helps students understand their performance in the current semester, reflect on their progression, identify challenge areas, and connect with student support, other students, and lecturers. A dashboard summarizes a health check in terms of assessments in, and attendance at, course events. It shows the student that there is strong awareness about his or her level of effort. The goal setting section helps a student define the outcomes they want to achieve. This includes passing courses as well as higher level outcomes like achieving scholarships, participating in the university community, and preparing for life after studies. This planner helps break down an overall goal into the smaller tasks needed for their completion. A calendar service helps schedule the tasks needed to meet all the objectives, so that all the semester activities are properly managed. The student can also view more detail on their attendance at course events. A troubleshooting section helps students identify the specific issues they may be facing with achieving success in each of the courses being studied, be it academic, financial or personal. Through integration with the support services, the system auto-suggests reaching out to the appropriate services to ameliorate any issues identified. A diary service helps the student maintain a record of what has worked and what hasn't. It may be a valuable record in the student's later years in life. The basic performance statistics and course records are also available for the student to review. In the study section, the student can review his or her performance in the assessments of the coursework curator. The curator integrates directly in Student Central, so the student can undertake assessments and receive feedback. It also shows a trophy room which rewards diligence and good performance, and a leaderboard to drive competition among learners at similar levels of performance. The jobs and scholarship section are described in another component.
The casework counselor helps integrate the advising and support given to students. It records the engagement by a student with a support structure, whether it is advice from a lecturer in the context of a course, or discussion with financial and student fees advisors. The student may have received academic advice about course registration or overall progression, or may have engaged with counselors or other forms of support. The casework counselor helps schedule activities between a student and a counselor, and manages the level of disclosure to customize what information can be accessed about a student depending on the user reviewing the case. There are several applications of this service. First, it is useful for reviewing the level of engagement by students toward successfully completing their degrees. Unfortunately, students most in need of support are often the last ones to ask for it. This system integrates with Student Central and highlights to a student which services they need to engage with. Second, it helps to develop a high level of consistency in the advising. Where the disclosure allows, a staff member can review the advice given to a student, and so understand the support strategy and follow-up actions needed. Third, it provides a report auto-generation when preparing for reviews and appeals for special consideration, for example appealing against exclusion or to take on more coursework. Finally, the casework counselor assists with monitoring the engagement and effectiveness of the support structures to better direct resources to the more successful support interventions.
The Research Gateway exposes the Autoscholar's development engine. Users can customize their Autoscholar interfaces and functionality, or even create new components. The engine includes tools for browsing databases and creating APIs, and performing data analysis. The database browser makes it easy to choose a database, search its contents and browse its tables. The system suggests database query code which can be customized. The user can execute a query and visualize the results. The queries can be stored as part of a growing program that a user is developing. The user can export the results to the data analysis section. The map, filter, reduce operations typical of any modern big data system are all available here. The data can be supplemented with the analysis performed, and the results placed on the stack. A data visualization method is available for plotting graphs and charts. This further builds the program defined by the user. The results are then made available to the model building section. In the model builder, an ever-growing set of algorithms can be used to build predictive models. As usual, the instructions saved on the stack can be added to the user's program and saved. The GUI builder is then used to create an interface and package the program as a new component. The research portal makes it possible to develop academic papers on data-driven education and institutional research, and to create new Autoscholar components.
The Accreditation Automate component eases the degree accreditation process. Accreditation criteria specify how a graduate attribute or an exit-level outcome is assessed in the academic program. These are encoded by the user according to some simple guidelines. The criterion possibilities are extensive and growing. Academic programs can be accredited by multiple accrediting bodies. The system also supports changes in accreditation criteria over time, and evaluates compliance down to the level of individual students over the span of their study. At the program view level, the system summarizes a report of accreditation compliance for all students whether past or present. At the student view level, the system shows the status of each graduate attribute together with the reason for confirming or not yet confirming the compliance status. The system is based on an open-ended, infinitely deeply nested logic structure, and so can generate accurate reports no matter how complex the criteria become. The system also includes a program performance browser to make it easier to decide on the accreditation criteria and assess the likely impact on changing a criterion. Degree accreditation is an essential aspect of quality control today. The Autoscholar has supported degree accreditation at multiple institutions, and has a 100% success record when assisting institutions achieve or maintain accreditation.
The Admissions and Registration Advisor evaluates a student's record and determines the optimal placement and progression strategy. In modern academia, registration in even structured degrees can be complicated by a labyrinth of hard and soft rules. The complexity is necessary as advisors revise the rules to increase the chances for success. The Admissions and Registration Advisor eases the process of evaluating an individual student. The system assesses a student in terms of the admissions and registration rules, and these may include deeply nested logic structures. The system also builds predictive models and offers advice on the best strategy to a successful graduation. The advice generated explains the reasons for recommending a registration as well as, perhaps more importantly, the reasons when it does not recommend a registration. The student can also use this component to understand the route to graduation under various scenarios involving passing and failing courses. Today, student debt is at an all-time record high. Academic institutions are under financial stress, and with subsidies based on graduation rates, admissions and registration optimization is a key activity.
The Career Mapper helps students build a professional CV that integrates with an authenticated academic record. They can apply for admission to academic programs, for scholarships, and for employment. A student may invite a potential scholarship provider or employer to review his or her CV by generating a time-limited link and create cover letters using customizable templates. The Career Mapper is also made available to funders and employers to create scholarship or employment postings, and auto-invite students who meet the criteria to consider their CV. There are various other possibilities. As students go on to become successful in their careers, this component can also be used to invite alumni to give back to their institutions, or consider participation in academic mentorship programs or making employment possibilities accessible to students of their alma mater.